The streets of Beverly Hills thrummed with energy on a sultry summer weekend in Hollywood. Luxury cars wove through the boulevards, their chrome finishes glinting under the California sun. Paparazzi swarmed like bees, their cameras flashing incessantly, while fans lined the sidewalks, clutching phones and posters, desperate for a glimpse of their idols. Among the constellation of events, one shone brightest. A charity gala at the iconic Beverly Hills Hotel, dedicated to nurturing young actors and filmmakers. The guest list was a who's who of Hollywood elite, but two names eclipsed all others: Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, legends whose presence promised to make the evening unforgettable. Initially, Keanu and Sandra had planned to arrive separately, each braving the gauntlet of red carpet interviews and photo ops. But as the day drew near, Keanu, ever the free spirit, proposed a different plan. "Let's ditch the LA traffic jam," he said during a quick call with Sandra. "We'll take the coastal highway together. Just you, me, and the open road." Sandra, always game for an adventure, agreed instantly. The plan was set. They'd cruise in Keanu's sleek black Mustang, a car as timeless as their friendship, savoring a rare moment of calm before the gala's chaos. As the sun dipped toward the Pacific, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, the Mustang roared to life. Keanu slid into the driver's seat, his leather jacket creaking softly, while Sandra settled beside him, sunglasses perched on her nose. The car hummed along the highway, its engine a low, soothing growl against the rhythmic crash of ocean waves. Sandra leaned back, a playful smile dancing on her lips. "This feels like speed all over again, doesn't it? You, me, and a high-stakes ride." Keanu chuckled, his eyes crinkling with amusement. "Except this time, no bombs, no runaway buses. Just us and the sunset." Sandra raised an eyebrow, her tone teasing. "And you're driving. Should I be worried? I seem to recall my character had to take the wheel in speed, because you were too busy playing hero." "Ye of little faith," Keanu shot back, feigning offense. "I've leveled up my driving skills since '94. This Mustang's in good hands." Their banter filled the car with warmth, a testament to the effortless chemistry that had made them on-screen icons. The highway stretched ahead, a ribbon of asphalt flanked by rugged cliffs and the endless ocean. For a fleeting moment, it was just them, the car, and the serenity of a perfect California evening. But that serenity was about to be shattered. A red warning light blinked on the dashboard, slicing through their conversation. "Low fuel." Keanu frowned, tapping the gauge as if it might reconsider. "Guess I got caught up in the moment," he admitted, glancing at Sandra. She laughed, her voice light but edged with mock exasperation. "You forgot to fill up? Keanu, you're hopeless." He grinned, undeterred. "Lucky for us, there's a gas station just ahead." Keanu steered the Mustang into a dilapidated roadside stop, its neon sign flickering like a dying star. The place was a relic: cracked pavement, rusted pumps, and a convenience store that looked untouched by time. The lot was nearly empty, save for two motorcycles parked near the pumps, their chrome gleaming in the fading light. Sandra slipped off her sunglasses and stretched. "I'm grabbing a coffee. Want anything?" Keanu shook his head, stepping out to fuel the car. "I'll meet you inside. Don't take too long. This place gives me the creeps." Sandra smirked, tossing her hair over her shoulder. "I'll be fine. It's just coffee, not a covert operation." As she strode toward the store, her silhouette caught the attention of two men leaning against the motorcycles. Their leather jackets were scuffed, adorned with patches and chains that clinked ominously. The taller one, with a shaved head and a jagged scar across his cheek, nudged his companion, a wiry man with a snake tattoo curling up his neck. Their eyes tracked Sandra, their expressions a mix of curiosity and menace. The taller one straightened, his voice low and gravelly. Well, looks like we've got a celebrity in our midst." The wiry one smirked, his teeth glinting. "Let's go say hello. See if she's as pretty up close." Inside the store, the air was thick with the scent of stale coffee and motor oil. A faint country tune crackled from an old radio, and a muted baseball game flickered on a small TV behind the counter. Sandra navigated the narrow aisles, grabbing a paper cup from the coffee station. She was used to being recognized, but the isolation of this place set her on edge. She poured her coffee, unaware of the two men slipping in behind her. Outside, Keanu finished pumping gas, his movements methodical. But as he replaced the nozzle, his eyes caught the biker's movement through the store's glass window. The taller one was leaning against the counter near Sandra, too close for comfort, while the wiry one lingered nearby, his posture predatory. Keanu's instincts flared. He'd seen this kind of behavior before, men looking for trouble, testing boundaries. He didn't move yet, but his hand tightened around the pump, his senses on high alert. Inside, Sandra stirred sugar into her coffee, her back to the bikers. The taller one spoke first, his voice dripping with false charm. "Fancy seeing someone like you in a place like this. You lost, sweetheart." Sandra turned slowly, her smile polite but guarded. "Just passing through," she said, keeping her tone neutral. She was no stranger to unwanted attention, but something about these men felt wrong. The wiry biker stepped closer, his tattoo stark under the fluorescent lights. "You look like you're from Hollywood. What's a star doing in a dump like this?" Sandra's grip on her cup tightened, but her voice remained steady. "Just getting coffee. My friend's outside, so I won't be long." The taller one chuckled, crossing his arms. "Left you all alone, huh? That's not very smart in a place like this." Sandra's smile faded slightly. The men were now positioned between her and the exit, their body language shifting from casual to menacing. She took a step toward the door, but the wiry biker mirrored her movement, subtly blocking her path. "What's the rush? We're just being friendly." Outside, Keanu's eyes narrowed. He saw the way the men had cornered Sandra, their postures aggressive, their intentions clear. He dropped the pump and strode toward the store, his steps deliberate but calm. He'd learned long ago that timing was everything in a confrontation, and he wasn't about to rush in blindly. Inside, Sandra tried to defuse the situation. "I appreciate the chat, but I really need to go," she said, stepping sideways. The wiry biker moved with her, his hand brushing her arm. The contact was brief but intentional, and Sandra froze, her body tensing. "Don't touch me," she said, her voice low and firm. The taller biker laughed, leaning in closer. "Come on, sweetheart. How about you stick around? We could show you a real good time." Before Sandra could respond, the bell above the door jingled sharply. Keanu stepped inside, his presence filling the small space like a storm cloud. The air shifted instantly, the tension spiking. The store clerk, a young woman with a nervous expression, froze behind the counter, her hand hovering over the phone. Sandra met Keanu's gaze, a silent understanding passing between them. Keanu's voice was low, steady, but it carried a weight that made the bikers stiffen. "You're going to apologize to her. Now." The wiry biker smirked, trying to play it cool. "Who's this guy?" "Her bodyguard." Keanu took a step forward, his eyes locked on the wiry one. "Apologize." The taller biker scoffed, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "We were just talking, man. Chill." Keanu didn't blink. "I don't repeat myself." The clerk's hands trembled, her eyes darting between the men. Sandra stood still, her coffee cup forgotten, watching the scene unfold. The wiry biker's smirk faded as Keanu stepped closer, now just a foot away. The tension was palpable, like a coiled spring ready to snap. The taller biker broke first, raising his hands in mock surrender. "Fine, fine. Sorry, lady. Happy now?" Sandra tilted her head, her expression unimpressed. That was weak. Keanu's lips twitched, but his eyes stayed locked on the bikers. The wiry one muttered something under his breath, but the taller one grabbed his arm. "Let's go." As they turned to leave, the taller biker shot Keanu a glare. "This isn't over, pal." Keanu didn't respond. He just watched as they stormed out, their boots thudding against the floor. The motorcycles roared to life outside, then faded into the distance. Sandra exhaled, her shoulders relaxing slightly. Well, that was intense. Keanu glanced at her, his expression softening. "You okay?" "Yeah," she said, managing a small laugh. "But my coffee's cold now." The clerk, still wide-eyed, stammered. "That was wow. You guys are like action heroes." Keanu ignored the comment, his attention shifting outside. Something felt off. He stepped out first, scanning the parking lot. Sandra followed, her coffee abandoned on the counter. As they approached the Mustang, Keanu stopped. A single black glove lay on the ground near the car's front tire. It hadn't been there before. Sandra frowned. "Did they drop that?" Keanu crouched, examining it without touching it. "They didn't drop it. They left it." Sandra's stomach churned. "A message?" Keanu stood, his eyes scanning the horizon. "Let's go." They climbed into the Mustang, the engine roaring as Keanu pulled out of the gas station. The road was quiet, but the tension lingered. Sandra glanced at the side mirror, her voice low. "You think they'll come back?" Keanu kept his eyes on the road. Guys like that don't let things go. As they merged back onto the highway, Sandra's fears materialized. In the rearview mirror, Two motorcycles appeared, their engines growling in the distance. They weren't overtaking, just trailing, matching the Mustang's speed. Sandra's heart raced. Keanu, they're back. He glanced in the mirror, his expression unreadable. I see them. The highway stretched ahead, but a sign indicated an upcoming exit to a quieter, winding road. Keanu's mind raced. Speeding up would draw attention. Slowing down would invite trouble. He needed to outsmart them. Hold on, he said, his voice calm but firm. Sandra braced herself as Keanu eased off the accelerator, testing the biker's reaction. The motorcycles slowed too, maintaining their distance. It was no coincidence. They were being hunted. Keanu's eyes flicked to the road signs. He made a decision. We're taking the exit. He swerved the Mustang onto a narrow side road, tires screeching. The bikers followed, their engines roaring louder now. The road twisted through hills, favoring the agility of motorcycles over the Mustang's power. Sandra gripped the door handle. They're gaining. Keanu's jaw tightened. Not for long. The wiry biker pulled alongside the car, his grin visible through his helmet. The taller one flanked the other side, holding a metal pipe. Sandra's eyes widened. Keanu, he's got a weapon. Before she could say more, the taller biker swung the pipe toward the Mustang's window. Keanu reacted instantly, jerking the wheel to the right. The pipe missed, clattering onto the pavement. Sandra gasped. They're insane. Keanu's voice was steady. We're ending this. He slammed the brakes, just enough to throw the bikers off balance. The wiry one wobbled, nearly losing control, while the taller one swerved to avoid crashing. Keanu seized the moment, accelerating into a tight curve. The Mustang hugged the road, but the motorcycles struggled with the turn. The wiry biker fell back, his bike skidding slightly. The taller biker, undeterred, pulled closer again, raising the pipe for another swing. Keanu anticipated it. He veered left, then right, kicking up a cloud of dust from the roadside. The biker coughed, momentarily blinded, and slowed down. Keanu pressed the advantage, pushing the Mustang to its limits. The road straightened, and he floored it, putting distance between them and the bikers. Sandra looked back, her breath catching. They're falling behind. Keanu didn't relax. For now. But the chase was far from over. As they navigated the winding road, Keanu's senses remained razor-sharp. He knew men like these didn't retreat easily. Sandra, trying to ease the tension, turned on the radio, letting a soft rock tune fill the car. Maybe we should have taken a cab, she joked, though her voice betrayed her unease. Keanu smirked, but his eyes stayed glued to the road. Where's the fun in that? The road grew quieter, the city lights fading behind them. Keanu's instincts prickled. He glanced in the mirror again, and there they were, two specks of light, growing larger. The bikers were back, and this time, they weren't keeping their distance. Sandra noticed too, her voice tight. Keanu, they're closing in. I see them, he said, his tone calm but focused. He scanned the road ahead, spotting a narrow bridge flanked by guardrails, a choke point where the bikers could try to box them in. Keanu's mind raced, weighing their options. Outrunning them was risky with the low fuel gauge. A prolonged chase could leave them stranded. He needed to end this now. Hold on tight, he said, his voice steady. Sandra gripped the seat, her knuckles white. What's the plan? Keanu didn't answer immediately. He eased off the accelerator, letting the bikers close the gap. The wiry one pulled alongside again, his grin now a snarl. The taller one stayed on the other side, the metal pipe still in his hand. Keanu waited, watching their movements. As they approached the bridge, he made his move. He swerved the Mustang sharply to the left, forcing the wiry biker toward the guardrail. The biker cursed, his bike wobbling as he fought to stay upright. Keanu then jerked the wheel right, cutting off the taller biker's path. The man swerved, his pipe slipping from his hand and clattering onto the road. The Mustang roared across the bridge, the bikers struggling to keep up. Sandra's heart pounded. Nice move, but they're still coming. Keanu's eyes narrowed. Not for long. He spotted a hairpin curve ahead, a treacherous turn that would test even the Mustang's handling. He pushed the car to its limits, tires screeching as they rounded the bend. The bikers, caught off guard, couldn't match the turn's precision. The wiry one skidded, his bike fishtailing dangerously. The taller one tried to follow, but his momentum carried him too far, his bike clipping the edge of the road. He slowed, cursing loudly. Keanu didn't let up. He floored the accelerator, the Mustang surging forward. The bikers fell further behind, their engines fading into the distance. Sandra looked back, her breath steadying. I think we lost them. Keanu's jaw remained tight. For now. They drove on, the road eventually merging with a busier highway. The lights of Los Angeles loomed ahead, a beacon of safety. Sandra leaned back, exhaling deeply. That was way too close. Keanu glanced at her, a small smile breaking through his guarded expression. You handled it like a pro. She laughed, though it was tinged with nerves. I think I deserve an Oscar for staying calm back there. But the night wasn't over. As they continued toward the gala, Keanu's mind churned with possibilities. The glove left behind was no accident. It was a taunt, a signal that the bikers weren't done. He kept the Mustang at a steady pace, his eyes flicking between the road and the mirrors. Sandra, sensing his unease, reached over and squeezed his arm. We're okay now, right? He nodded, but his gut told him otherwise. Let's just get to the gala. The road wound through a quiet stretch, the ocean now a distant shimmer. Keanu noticed a flicker of movement in the side mirror. A single headlight, faint but unmistakable. His grip on the steering wheel tightened. Sandra checked the mirror. She turned, her breath catching. Is that? Just one, Keanu said, his voice low. But it's not over. The lone biker kept his distance, weaving through the sparse traffic. Keanu's mind raced. Was this a scout, signaling the other? Or was it a new player? He decided to test the biker's intentions. He accelerated slightly, watching the headlight. The biker matched his speed, staying just close enough to be seen. Keanu's jaw clenched. He's playing with us. Sandra's voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed her concern. What do we do? Keanu scanned the road ahead, spotting a rest area up ahead. A small lot with a few picnic tables and a payphone, likely deserted at this hour. It wasn't ideal, but it could be a controlled environment to confront the biker. We're stopping, he said. Sandra's eyes widened. You're pulling over? Are you sure? Trust me, he said, his tone calm but resolute. He pulled into the rest area, the Mustang's tires crunching on gravel. The biker slowed but didn't follow immediately, lingering on the road. Keanu parked under a dim streetlight, keeping the engine running. Stay in the car, he told Sandra. She shook her head. Not a chance. We're in this together. Keanu gave her a look but didn't argue. They stepped out, the night air cool against their skin. The biker stopped 100 yards away, his engine idling. Keanu stood by the car, his posture relaxed but ready. Sandra stayed close, her eyes locked on the biker. After a tense moment, the biker killed his engine and dismounted. It was the wiry one, his snake tattoo visible even in the dim light. He approached slowly, hands raised as if to show he was unarmed. No need to get jumpy, he called out. Just want to talk. Keanu's voice was cold. You've done enough talking. The biker stopped a few feet away, his grin returning. You two think you're untouchable, don't you? Big Hollywood stars above it all. Sandra crossed her arms. What do you want? The biker's eyes flicked to her, then back to Keanu. Respect. You humiliated us back there. That's not something we forget. Keanu took a step forward, his presence commanding. You brought this on yourselves. Walk away now and we're done. The biker laughed, but it was hollow. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about you. It's about us. Our turf, our rules. Before Keanu could respond, the roar of another engine cut through the night. The taller biker appeared, pulling into the rest area and stopping beside his partner. He dismounted, his scar catching the light. Told you this wasn't over, he said, his voice dripping with malice. Sandra's heart raced, but she stood her ground. Keanu's eyes flicked between the two men, assessing. They were outnumbered, and the rest area was isolated. But Keanu had been in worse situations. He kept his voice calm, almost conversational. You've got one chance to leave. Take it. The taller biker smirked, pulling a chain from his jacket. You're not in a movie now, Reeves. Sandra tensed, but Keanu's hand on her arm kept her steady. He stepped forward, closing the distance between him and the bikers. Last warning. The wiry biker lunged, aiming a fist at Keanu. But Keanu was ready. He sidestepped, grabbing the biker's arm and twisting it behind his back in one fluid motion. The biker grunted, struggling, but Keanu held firm. The taller one swung the chain, but Sandra ducked, grabbing a loose rock from the ground and hurling it at him. It hit his shoulder, throwing off his aim. Keanu shoved the wiry biker away, sending him stumbling. Enough, he barked. The taller biker hesitated, the chain dangling in his hand. Keanu's eyes burned with intensity. You're done here. The bikers exchanged a glance, their bravado faltering. The wiry one spat on the ground, but the taller one raised a hand, signaling retreat. "This ain't worth it," he muttered. They backed toward their bikes, their engines roaring as they peeled out into the night. Sandra exhaled, her hands shaking. "That was too close." Keanu nodded, his eyes still scanning the darkness. "Let's get to the gala." They climbed back into the Mustang, the engine roaring as they merged onto the highway. The lights of Los Angeles grew brighter, a beacon of safety. Sandra leaned back, her nerves frayed but her spirit unbroken. "You think they're really gone?" Keanu's jaw tightened. "For now." The Mustang pulled up to the Beverly Hills Hotel, its grand entrance ablaze with camera flashes and elegantly dressed guests. Valets rushed forward, but Keanu waved them off, parking the car himself. Sandra smoothed her hair, trying to shake off the adrenaline. "We made it." "Barely." Keanu's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror one last time. "Stay close tonight." Inside, the gala was a whirlwind of glamour, crystal chandeliers, flowing champagne, and the hum of conversation. Sandra slipped into her role effortlessly, charming guests and posing for photos. Keanu, however, remained on edge, his eyes scanning the room. After an hour, he excused himself and headed to the parking garage. The dim lights cast long shadows over the rows of luxury cars. He approached the Mustang and froze. A deep scratch ran along the driver's side door, deliberate and fresh. Keanu's fingers brushed the mark, his expression darkening. This wasn't vandalism, it was a message. The bikers had been here, or someone connected to them. He scanned the garage, but it was empty, the silence oppressive. He returned to the ballroom, his face a mask of calm. Sandra spotted him and raised an eyebrow, sensing his shift in mood. "Where'd you go?" Keanu grabbed a champagne flute from a passing tray, raising it with a small smile. "Just checking on the car. Let's toast to surviving the night." Sandra clinked her glass against his, but her eyes searched his face. "You're sure everything's okay?" "Absolutely," he said, his tone light but his eyes sharp. Sandra never learned about the scratch, or the silent war it represented. Some battles are fought with fists and words, others in the shadows, where only those who understand the game know the true victor. Keanu sipped his champagne, his mind already planning for what might come next. Because deep down, he knew this wasn't over, not yet. The gala continued, the laughter and music a stark contrast to the tension of the road. Sandra mingled, her laughter genuine now, but Keanu kept his distance, watching the exits, the faces, the subtle movements in the crowd. He'd been in enough tight spots to know when trouble was lurking, and his gut told him the biker's retreat was only temporary. As the night wound down, Sandra found him near the balcony, staring out at the city lights. "You're awfully quiet," she said, leaning against the railing. "What's going on in that head of yours?" Keanu smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Just thinking about the drive back." Sandra's expression softened. "We'll take the main roads this time. No detours." He nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. The glove, the scratch, the biker's parting words, they were pieces of a puzzle he hadn't fully solved. He'd keep Sandra safe, no matter what it took. And if the bikers came back, they'd find out just how far Keanu Reeves was willing to go to protect his own. If you enjoyed this story, let us know where you're reading from. Stay tuned for more tales of courage, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds that define us.